like I always do at this time, we gotta shine. I go for mine. Shout out to the Kanye. Who we got up in the building? Say what's up. We got, let me see, we got Panama Pinky in the building. We got Sister Quinthia Watson in the building. Hope I'm saying your name right. We got Satral. We got Poetic Sovereignty coming through, showing love. All right. Who else we got up in here? So as y'all know, now maybe I might be bugging, but I gotta ask y'all a serious question. It's something that I've been noticing. Something I've been noticing within these last few days. On Instagram, have y'all been noticing on Instagram that there's been a influx of death videos? I don't know if it's just my particular Instagram, because I don't go out looking for this stuff. But have y'all been paying attention to like the reels and stuff like that? You got some of these hip hop websites, that be on Instagram, and for the past few days, a lot of death videos has been circulating. And if I'm not mistaken, I thought that was against the policies. I thought that was against Instagram policies to post death videos. And it's been like non-stop, like these past few days, the Lizard Queen death. Has any of y'all been peeping that, or is it just me, or am I just bugging? And I mean, when I say death videos, I mean like senseless deaths, and we know that we're in Virgo season right now. There's been a really valiant attack on innocence right now, and there's a lot of children who are on Instagram and on these social media sites and stuff like that. So it's very weird, and it's extremely strange that Instagram is allowing people to post death videos. It's real crazy, Now the one that most people know about is the guy in Memphis that went live on Facebook, and he recorded himself doing something that was very reminiscent of what happened in Buffalo, New York, not too long ago. So we got that. Then, and the thing about it is, it's like on my feed, it's been so back to back that I just had to get off Instagram. Like, it was crazy. It was this guy at this propane factory, and it was like a video camera. It's like the CCTV cam in the factory, and it showed these two guys in the factory. The dude bent over to pick up one of the propane cans or whatever, and then the other dude in the video picked up a propane can and just knocked him out. And then when he knocked him out, he just kept throwing it down I'm like, damn, like why are they posting this stuff? And then today, a little bit before I went live, I was just scrolling through Instagram, and there was this video about this Indian lady in India, and she was doing a belly dancing routine, and then she had a heart attack, and she was she had a heart attack while she was doing the dance. So she's like on the ground, or she's like, she fell out, she passed out, and I guess she's like twitching or whatever, and the people were clapping like that was a part of the routine. I'm like, bruh, are y'all serious right now? So I understand that we live in a world right now to where a lot of things, a lot of rules and stuff like that has to be bended, because the beings and the entities that run run a lot of things that make this world go round, they eat off of the negative, they eat off of negative energy, they eat off of sorrow, all of that type of stuff, and we're in Virgo season, and it's very interesting that Queen Elizabeth died before the moon went in Pisces, because there's some things that are being exposed. There's some stuff that's being exposed, and I've been saying this for years. If y'all been paying attention to my channel, and my live streams and stuff, I've been saying this for years. A lot of these, there's been a lot of damage, there's been a lot of crazy stuff that's been going on, and there's retribution that's going on, that's happening. There are beings, not only beings, but a lot of us are being awakened at record alarming numbers, and they're scrambling. These powers that be that work in the shadows are scrambling, because they don't really know what can happen with us. We're a wild card, because when you have a soul, you have the power of transmuting, and you have the power of changing and influencing and all of these other things. And these powers that be, that were able to work in the shadows doing evil for so long, they're scrambling. Like they don't know what's gonna happen when a lot of this information is starting to come out. So you have a lot of them that are getting out of Dodge in many different ways. And I've been talking about this. So what does this mean when we're talking about the Orishas? Because we're in Virgo season, so a lot of things are being exposed through the eyes of the baby Eshu. So in my thumbnail, on one side you see Shango, on one side you see Ogun, and then in the middle you have the baby Eshu. The baby Eshu right now, is very easy to place the blame on him right now, because some people can say that if it wasn't for Eshu telling Obatala about what was going on in secret between Ogun and Yemoja, then maybe things would be different if the baby Eshu didn't run his big mouth and expose what was going on. Because when he did that, in the baby Eshu's defense, he couldn't gauge what he couldn't gauge what Obatala was gonna do, when he told him that. So you can't really blame it on him. And then at the end of the day, the baby Eshu was in a situation where it was like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. You know, if Obatala would have found out on his own, you know, the baby Eshu, he would have been an easy scapegoat, and you know, he would have been he would have got the worst punishment. You know, he would have got the worst punishment out of all of them, because you know better. You know, he was the closest, because he was the closest to the father, so you know better. You know, so if anybody should have told me what was going on, other than, you know, Ogun, you know, he's the oldest, but you're the youngest. You know, you're the one that's under me the most. Let me see what you said, Satchel. I've been speaking about transmutation for a minute now, these last couple months. Yeah, that's the rule of the day right now. So, as you can see, things regarding children being abused is the hot topic right now. You know, things regarding innocence being abused, things regarding children being used as pawns for fame, you know, fame and fortune and stuff like that. You know, children being used for manipulative and very sinister things. You know, it started with Sam Puckett, aka Jeanette McCurdy, you know, talking about, I'm glad my mom died. You know, it started with her, and now we got the stuff going on with Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears, you know, and then you got the whole thing about Harry Styles being called the king of pop. You know, they're trying to erase Michael Jackson from being the king of pop, and you know, and there's a lot of other stuff. There's a lot of other things that's there's a lot of other things that's gonna be exposed on throughout Virgo season. So for those who were able to look past all the things that the media is trying to throw in your face to distract you right now, you would know that there's a war that is going on over the seas. There's a war that's going on over the seas. You know, there's a lot of talk about overseas. You know, the low end of it, you know, the passport bros and all of that stuff, but the higher end of it is there's a war right now over currency. There's a war over you know, there's different countries and things like that that's warring over currency, you know, over the seas and stuff like that. And you know, the US dollar, it's not going to be long until the US dollar and everything surrounding it becomes obsolete. You know, you got two countries overseas that are secretly they're secretly creating their own currency that is based on precious minerals. I bet y'all didn't know about that. Shout out to Black Ram 313, because I just got finished listening to that on his live stream. I'm like, damn, like there's really stuff that's going on out here that the media is not covering, and there's a reason for that. You know, it's a reason for that. So in the original world, this war started between Shango and Ogun. You know, but before the war started between Shango and Ogun, the war was between Oya and Yemoja. You know, about who is more fit to be the mother of the sea, and who was more fit to be the mother that took care of the underworld and the cemetery. You know, so you know, I made many videos where you know, where I talked about this. Let me see what you said, Satchel. Let me see what you said. I've been telling everybody the dollar isn't gonna have it. Yeah, plan on investing in gold. Yeah, everything is slowly going back to the way it was when Ursula was in rule, because the death of the Queen of England is a symbolic. It was a symbol. I'm not gonna speak too much on that, you know, because I don't want to go into the realm of conspiracy. But the illusion, you know, there's a lot of illusions that died with her as well, you know. And you know, the media, the powers that be, you know, different things, they're not going to be able to hide what the truth is for long. You know, they're not gonna be able to keep this hidden for long about how valuable certain things really are, you know. So it all started in the Dragon Age, towards the end of the Dragon Age, when the big switch happened. Now, since we're in Virgo season, you know, I'm telling this story in the eyes of the baby Eshu. You know, now in the Dragon Age, the baby Eshu, he had to go into hiding. You know, I talked about this before. He had to go into hiding because things were not safe for children in the Dragon Age. You know, in the Dragon Age, you know, the dark goddesses like Urzuli Danto, you know, she represents the version of Oya that from the Dragon Age, you know, like Kali, you know. Shango, in that time, you know, he was more like Shiva. You know, Shango in that time, he had to be more like a Shiva type of energy. You know, this means that, you know, if you were a man in this time, and you wanted to be with a woman and be powerful and stuff like that in this time, you know, not only did you have to be good when it came to military type stuff, you know, the men that grew up in the Dragon Age, the men of the Dragon Age were extremely powerful. You know, they were extremely powerful with magic. They were extremely powerful when it came to working with metal and stuff like that. You know, in the Dragon Age, being more like Ogun, or in Haitian voodoo, he's called Ogu Ferai. Being in that type of energy was extremely necessary in the Dragon Age. You know, because even if you pay attention, there's a lot of movies surrounding dragons that's coming out, like the Lord of the Rings. You know, even when you talk about like the Hulk, the Green Man, and the Green Woman. What was the name of the Egyptian gods and goddesses that were green? The green screen. You know, all these different things. You know, this is what is it? Osiris, like ancient. This is like ancient Osiris type of times. You know, where Set really did rule. You know, this is like super ancient times. You know, these are times that y'all think are mythological, because a lot of these, you know, powers that be, they don't want to tell y'all the truth that some of us, we still have this blood, and we still have this inside of us. And if things turn into a certain way, as far as with the climate, if the climate turns into a certain way, certain things in us, if you are of that tribe, are going to activate within you. Very important. So and even in the Bible, it talks about the great dragon that was chained down and stuff like that. And when we talk about the kings and queens of the dragon age, we have to look to Yemoja and Damballa. Yemoja, which is the exalted version of the Oya energy, Damballa, who is a exaltation of the Obatala and Ogun energy. And these are the grandparents of the Eshu energy. Very important. So this shows you, number one, this shows you how powerful children are, because they have a direct connection. They have a direct connection to these type of timelines. This is the reason why when you have children, is very important to keep them in their imagination. Keep them into drawing. Keep them into painting and art and stuff like that. I talk to a lot of mothers in my line of work. I talk to a lot of mothers, and they've expressed to me about their children and how they their children be drawing these dragon type of creatures, these ancient reptilian dragon type of creatures and stuff. And the worst thing that you can do is to tell your child to stop drawing that because it's scary, or you don't know what you talking about, like all that type of stuff. So there was a war between the people, the beings of the air and the beings of the sea. I don't know everything about it. This is something that I've been doing a lot of meditating on, and I'm getting little by little of information about this, and it's hard for me to retain a lot of it because it's not a lot that I can relate it to in this world. But either way, Yemoja and Damballa, something happened to where the rulership switched, and we went into a Maya. We went into a Maya, into a illusionary, a sleep type of state. We went into a sleeping type of state. That's the best way I can explain it. And then there was a switcheroo that happened when it came to the powers, the kings and queens and all of that stuff. So it got to a point where now we went from Yemoja to the Yeye Maya, the mother of Maya, the mother of illusion, the mother of the fishes, Yemoja, and the Oya energy. Now she represents the cemetery, she represents the underworld, all that type of stuff, and there's always been a battle between those two. They talk about Oya as the goddess of hurricanes. It makes sense that the hurricanes start in the ocean and then they move on land. They move onto land. Very important. So in this time, since now we live more in a illusionary type of world and stuff like that, the men who represented Ogun, you know, the men who represented Ogun, they slowly started to get you know, taken out of the picture, you know. And since this is an illusion, and you know, Ogun, you know, he deals with the harsh reality, you know. There was a ploy to take Ogun away from his rightful spot when it came to the hierarchy. The reason why was because Ogun, not only did he know what was up, you know, he wasn't gonna back down. You know, he wasn't gonna back down like how like, you know, how these powers that be that now represent the Yemoja, the Yeye Maya, the illusion, wanted for him to do. You know, so the best way to explain this, you know, think about how the men of the 50s and the 60s were. You know, they had a lineage to where, you know, they had direct connections back to slavery. You know, they had direct connections back. So, you know, when they saw that white man, you know, they still had a fresh type of mindset of you know, how evil, you know, this white man was back then, you know. So you know, in this early time where you had Yemoja, but then you had Ogun, you know, the men that grew up from that type of household, they still had a sense of masculinity about themselves, you know, divine masculinity. You know, you had the man that you know, he worked in the factories and he worked real hard and stuff like that. And then, you know, you had the mother, and you know, her job was to take care of the children. You know, their job was to take care of the children. Their job was to pour back into their husbands and stuff like that when they came home, and all of that stuff, you know. And you know, different things when it came to sex and all of that type of stuff, you know, it was, you know, it was a lot different. You know, it was a lot different. It was a lot more rough, you know, because the times in the Dragon Age was very rough. You know, you weren't finna be no soft, sensual type of man dealing with Kali. You know, she'll be done destroyed you. You know, so you had to be rough. You had to be sure of yourself as a man, and you had to have all of your faculties unlocked. Golly, hold on, y'all. My phone finna die. Let me go back in here. So you had to have all of your faculties and things like that unlocked. You know, dealing with the women of the Dragon Age. You know, cause they wasn't on that soft stuff. Remember what I said in that video where I said real men don't get soft. You know, the Lilith age. You know. So when things changed, there was something that was invented, and it was called the TV. You know, the TV, different you know, commercials and things like that started coming on TV because the powers that be that wanted to keep a certain illusion. You know, this started way back in the day. You know, they knew that, you know, the mothers, the women, you know, they were going to be at home. They were going to be at home and you know, watching TV and stuff like that. So they slowly started to make different TV programming to program the women while they were at home. You know, they started programming the diamonds are a woman's best friend. You know, they started programming and I was going to talk about this in if I would have kept that The Lion, the Witch, and the Consultant, if I would have kept on going on with that series, I would have talked about how you had certain commercials where you had you know, they started to change the standard of beauty. They started to change different things about image and stuff like that. You know, they would have this white woman and she would have on like the little dress, and you know, they'll say, oh, you know, if you want to be beautiful, you know, and you need to be like this white woman right here. You know, look at the way she dresses. You know, look at the way she looks. You know, look at you know, what she has on and all of this type of stuff. It was real weird. You know, look at some of those old standard commercials in the 50s. Some of those old 1950s commercials, you know, about style and stuff like that. You know, and slowly this started to program the minds of the women, of the melanated women. This started to program the minds of them, you know, because these powers that be, you know, they made sure even the few black women that they would have on TV, you know, they looked inferior when it came to the standard of beauty, which was starting to be pushed really heavy in that time. You know, this was a real slow programming. You know, they started to program the minds of the Yemojas. They started to program the minds of the Yemojas because Yemoja, she is very sensitive when it comes to her dreams. You know, when it comes to her dreams and her imagination and stuff like that. You know, Adawedo, you know, Ursula Adawedo, you know, she didn't play that. You know, but the thing about it is, you know, these type of people started to die out, and you know, all that was left was the Yemojas. So these women were easily to be programmed with this box, with this TV, you know, with this tele vision programming. And then, you know, you had things called soap operas, you know, or novellas and stuff like that. Slowly programming, you know, slowly programming you that, you know, this is how love is supposed to feel. You know, this is how things are supposed to feel. You know, when you're with your man, and you know, all of this type of stuff. And it slowly got to the point where it's like, damn, you know, my man don't treat me like that. You know, in comparison to the way that this woman on TV is, you know, is being loved and all of that. You know, my man is kind of abusive. You know, so this is where you start to slowly get to the point where it's like, dang, you know, my man is abusive. You know, because he had to go through a lot more out in the world than, you know, this illusion that she's been programmed with all of these different hours of the day. You know, all of this started with the television programming. You know, this is how all of this stuff started. You know, so Yemoja, she started to feel differently about this, you know, this stuff that Ogun is doing. You know, she started to feel you know, like Ogun is abusing her and stuff like that. You know, and you know, the children, the children that were in the kingdom, that were in this house, you know, they were confused. You know, they didn't know how to take this, because, you know, before now, this is all they knew. And then this is where chaos started to ensue. Yeah, I have a PayPal. I just owe like $30 on it, so I ain't put that up. Let me see. Amar. That's the PayPal. So a lot of chaos slowly started to ensue. You know, because now the goddess of change is out of the house. You know, now she's in the cemetery. You know, so while she's gone, Yemoja, or the Yeye Maya, is being programmed by this artificial reality that's on this TV. I hope y'all can get what I'm saying. And so slowly, you know, we get into the 70s, you know, we go to the 60s, we go to the 70s, you know, this is still going on. Technology is starting to change. Different things are starting to change, where those trades that helped Ogun to be the way he was, you know, for him to be needed the way he was, and all of that. A lot of these things are starting to change. You know, certain other things are starting to be suggested. You know, certain other things are starting to be you know, created, and all of that. You know, to where you don't necessarily, you know, gotta be the type to work with your hands and get down and dirty and all of those things that kind of made you you know, masculine. You know, all of these things slowly started to change, you know, to where, you know, the children, these new children that are coming up now. We had a good run in the 60s. You know, we had you know, we had the Black Panthers. You know, we had a lot of, you know, we still had a good run, but even that, since the Yeye Maya, you know, since the TV and the media and things like that was starting to be a lot more prevalent, it was easy for there to be infiltrators and provocateurs and agents and stuff like that to break these organizations up, so they wouldn't cause a major impact, you know, the way that they wanted to cause, you know. And it was very easy to switch the it was very easy to switch the message with these organizations. It was very easy to switch the message. You know, it even when it came to the gangs, you know, the way the gangs first started, you know, it was about helping the community, you know, doing things to help the community that the white law enforcement and the white power structure wasn't trying to do. You know, so this is what these organizations, this is how they started. But then, you know, slowly but surely, the leaders started getting locked up. You know, certain infiltrators started coming in and switching things around, switching the message around, switching different things around, and all of that type of stuff. So now you have this powerful organization, but now it's being misled, and it's subtle. It all started out real subtle. And what y'all don't understand, this happened on a spiritual level first, you know. And the way I'm seeing it is like that that energy that was within us that can cause real change in the world, they started to really narrow that window of the different things that you can do in order for you to show that. And then after that, they started to modify the type of changes that you can really do. And then, with the schooling, and different things like that, the power structure with the banks and all of this stuff, with the food and all of this, it took certain urges that I have what it takes to make this type of change. It took a lot of those different urges away. It's like somebody went and just secretly started cutting the wiring of our brain that, this is an illusion, like this isn't real, and the older people, the older generation of people that still had that Ogun spirit, that still had that Ogu type of spirit, they started to look obsolete from everybody else. They started to look obsolete. So then here comes the baby Eshu. The baby Eshu, during this time, he was on a mission. During this time, the baby Eshu, he was on a mission to do his father's business. Now, when things started going left and things started to change, it went from him doing his father's business, his strong Obatala, Dambala father business. It went from that to the Christian Heavenly Father's business. Then you started to see a lot of preachers, a lot of kept your dollar, creep your dollar, TD Snakes, Eddie Rome. This is when these preachers started to change their message up. The 501c3 started coming out. That if we catch you talking about revolution and liberation and all of this type of stuff, like if we catch you talking about this type of stuff, certain things can start to be taken away from you, and the reason why is because the versions of Ogun that were the workers, the ones that created the buildings and the brick masons and stuff like that, they died out. So now these white corporations, these powers that be corporations, now they're starting to own more and more and more of these building companies, and fixing it to where you gotta run through all this red tape. You gotta do all this out of the way type of stuff in order to get certain things that, there was a certain point in time where these things were inherited to us, by our forefathers. So the dependence on Ogun started to falter, started to be real faint, and the new Ogun, the illusionary Ogun, started to reign, and since the Yemojas, the great mothers, are starting to slowly believe in this illusion that has been placed before them, there was no fight. There was no fight like that in the 80s, in the 70s, when they started to really use this programming to take the fathers out the home, so that now the baby Eshus are vulnerable. The baby Oshuns and the baby Eshus, now they're vulnerable. They don't got no protection. They don't got no type of protection now. So when you have a baby Eshu who knows the truth, and they know what needs to be done and all of this stuff, but they don't have a protection to back them, you know. And I'm talking about little children. I'm talking about little children, you know. The more they grow up and they're being fed this illusion, you know, you gotta go to school, you gotta make good grades at school, and you gotta be taught all of this misinformation, and you're no longer being taught about your magic. You're no longer being taught about how powerful you are as a god, as a goddess, you know. You're no longer, wait, hello, yo, am I still here? Yo, can you hear me? Can y'all hear me? Put a one in the chat if you can still hear me. Yo, hold on, can y'all hear me? I kind of cut out for a second. Okay, I'm still here. Okay, cool. I'm seeing that it's like a slight lag. I'm just over here going. Okay, cool. Okay, so it got to the point. So now you got a whole bunch of you know, bright. I'm gonna say bright. You got a whole bunch of bright children, you know, that's coming up in this time. You got a bunch of bright children that has the potential to bring back that Ogun essence, you know, that made us so strong, you know. And since they're vulnerable, and you know, the fathers are being locked up over stupid stuff, and then you got this programming, and you got these programs and these programmings and stuff like that's coming out, to where, you know, you're slowly getting a lot of these women to accept it, you know, and make them feel like that they don't have a choice but to accept it, because this Yeye Maya programming is starting to desensitize them. You know, they're no longer being taught about what it truly means to be divine feminine. They're no longer truly taught about the different things about being a goddess, the different things about herbs and medicine, you know, plant medicine, and you know, and I told this to one of my daughters of Oshun. Daughters of Oshun used to have a type of power once upon a time, where they can wave their hand over somebody and heal them. Like all these different things that made us extremely self-sufficient. You know, these things are being taken from us. And then you got these families, damn, what was the name of the family that started with the medicine, with the petroleum oil based capsule pills? You know, Big Pharma is starting to step in. You know, you got these capsule pills, you know, all of this stuff that messes with your insides. You know, oh shit, what's up, Zero Manifested? Yo, I saw you tried to call me, but I'm doing all of this on my phone, so I couldn't answer the phone. So all of this stuff is going on because these Yeye Maya powers that be, they understand that if we can lower the defenses of the goddesses, if we can lower the defenses of the great mothers and stuff like that, you know, then it's going to be easy. It's going to be easy to separate the you know, the fathers away from the children. See, the children, the baby Eshu was always the target at the end of the day, you know. And this is why I said that the baby Eshu had to go into hiding, because the when all of this stuff started to happen, the children started to be the main target, you know. So now you got these children that are being born, and they're full of life. They're full of life, they're full of possibility, they're full of, they're just full of this zeal, and because they're still carrying this Ogun type of spirit. So in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, certain programs, certain things started to be created to where you can start to shell these children into. Now some of these things represented Hollywood, the things of Hollywood, like movies and stuff like that. This is when the blaxploitation era came out, and it was really 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 going rampant in this time. And then you got athletics. But before now, everything was white. But slowly things started to change, and it was by design, because it's like, okay, I'd rather have you in athletics to where you're making a lot of money, but there's a contract involved, and we can do certain things to where you can't even live long enough to enjoy all of this money that we're giving you. And even if you live long enough to enjoy all of this money that we're giving you, you're gonna be hitting your head so many times. You're gonna be been tackled, and your body been through the ringer so many times that you're not even really gonna be able to enjoy it. And then we ain't even gonna talk about the programming that a lot of them go through, to where a lot of them they put these different women, these agents, they put these white women agents in front of them, saying that this type of woman right here, she's gonna understand how it feels to be what it means to be a rich man in America. You don't want to be with the black woman, because she's gonna take all your money. She's not gonna understand the fact that you're not gonna be at home all the time. You got to be out here practicing, and you got to do all of this stuff. But this white woman, she's bred just for dealing with a man of your class. Like all of this stuff was by design, to lower that spiritual energy of Eshu, of the children. So instead of me wanting to be more like Fred Hampton, instead of me wanting to be more militant, more like the Black Panthers and stuff like that, now I want to be more like Bo Jackson. Now I want to be more like I want to be more like Dr. J. Now the thing about it is, in this time, even though you had these black kids funneled into Hollywood, funneled into athletics, a lot of the older generation of these, they still had morals about themselves. They still had morals, they still had values, they still had certain things where you can look up to them. Now this was all a grand design, because now, since I got you in the palm of my hand and stuff like that, all I got to do is make some tragic things happen, like what happened with what's his name? What was that football player name? The Juice. I forgot his name, but they called him the Juice. Something like that happened. Certain sacrificial things can happen to the point where it's like, if you don't want to end up like this person, if you don't want to end up like this person, that person, if you don't want to end up like him, if you don't want to end up like her, I suggest you leave that ... alone. And the thing about it is, they don't even gotta be the one to tell you that. Your mama gonna tell you that. Julie World, no, what was the guy name that they called him the Juice? OJ, yeah, OJ, not Juice World, OJ, OJ Simpson, yeah, OJ Simpson, So this is when, you slowly started seeing different artists and stuff like that, different people being sacrificed, and a lot of their beliefs, different Ogu type of beliefs and stuff that they had started to be looked at as non-constitutional, evil. You don't need to be thinking about rebellion. You don't need to think about revolution and all of this stuff, because we got the first black football player. We got the first black boxer. Look at how this first black performer is doing, and instead of you wanting to be more like Ogun, instead of you wanting to be more like Ogu, instead of you wanting to be more like Shiva, you want to be like Mike. You want to be like Michael Jordan. You want to be like Mike Tyson. You want to be more like them. And then so this is where the Yeye Maya started to change, to where now we got different brandings. You got the Jordan shoes, and you got certain clothing brands, and you got certain stuff. This is where things started to change, to where now things are more based on attention. The attention that you can get. Things a lot of movies came out, and these movies were more about front and flash than morals and principles and values and integrity and stuff like that. Morals and principles and values and integrity, this is stuff that your old decrepit, your old hag granddad would tell you. And it started to get to a point, it started to slowly get to a point to where you stopped looking at your old granddaddy, your old uncle. You stop looking at them as someone that you want to be like, because we can easily say like, back in your time, you had certain things, and you was able to do certain stuff that we can't see no more. It was very minute, very sinister, but it was very covert the way it happened. It was a very, very slow process, and the devil was in the little details that, unless you're a child, unless you're a Eshu, this stuff will just go past your subconscious, because that's what it was meant to do. So now we get to the age where Shango is born. Obatala, which is the white powers that be, the people that are starting to control the banks, the people that are starting to control different things that make the world go round. Just like how Obatala didn't want Yemoja to have no more sons, this slowly started to happen with us, to where these powers that be don't want no more versions of Ogu, no more versions of that divine masculine type of essence. So now Shango is being born. The Shangos of the world are starting to be born, and these Shangos were fed a lie. And this is where we're getting to the natal chart of today. The Shangos, that have grown up, and some of them became thugs, traumatized humans, unable to grieve. A lot of them became misled and stuff like that. And they have a very, very skewed outlook on their father, because a lot of them never met their father. And if they would have met their father, they would have respected their father, and they wouldn't be who they ended up being, because their father would have raised them right. But see, at this point in time in the world, the Yemojas, the Yemojas have been fully taken over. They've been fully taken over by this time. So this illusion, the illusion of the American dream, and this illusion is being fed to these Shangos, by the mother. So now there's a war between Shango and Ogun, but it was all over a misunderstanding. Shango feels like Ogun raped Yemoja, and Shango feels like Ogun, the reason why Ogun is no longer the head of the household was because he was abusive to Yemoja. And this is a lie that's been perpetrated throughout these last 40 something years. How many of y'all, if you're a man now and you grew up in a single parent household, your mama told you the reason why your dad wasn't around was because he was abusive. All of that type of stuff. And the thing about it is, the more and more this started to fester. It got to the point where you had people like Tupac, who came out. Wow, this is a good breakdown. Yeah. So then you got the Tupacs that came out. And when I say Tupac, you had a Tupac in the acting world, you had a Tupac in the music world, you had Tupacs in the athletic world, and all of them got the same punishment. And then what they do, if you don't want to end up, and this is something that your grandmama, your auntie, and your mama probably told you as a kid, you don't want to be like Tupac, and you didn't have no divine masculine male to counter that and pick out the bones and stuff. You don't want to be like Tupac. You don't want to have all of that power and give it away to a system that wants to suck that energy from you and make you use that power for bad. That's what a divine masculine father would have pulled that son to the side and said after their mama told them, you don't want to be like Pop. But see, the fathers, through a lot of bullshit that was going on that a lot of them felt like was out of their control. A lot of the movies and the TVs and stuff that made it cool for you to have sex with multiple women and don't take care of the kids. Like it was so much stuff. So now, when you got a son and you see your son got a talent, like me, when I was a child, I always had a talent of rapping, of producing, of making music. And I looked up to people like Tupac when I was a kid. I looked up to people like Biggie. I looked up to a lot of the greats and stuff like that. But my parents, they was like, you don't want to be like Pop. And see, I had to find out as an adult who Pop really, who he really was and what he really represented. Because see, the TV can paint a certain image, the media can paint a certain image, and media is also a goddess, that was taken over. Media. See, media started to media went along with the Maya, the media and the Maya, to attack the Yeyes. Yeye means mother in Yoruba. All of this goes into play about why we're in the situation where we are now. So slowly but surely, since there's no true divine masculine influence, the only way that you can kind of find something that kind of represents divine masculine is something on the TV, is something in the media, and then when you look at a lot of the secret things about these artists, a lot of them was very unhappy with the image that they had to portray outwardly, But just like Biggie, no more money, more problems. you know. And this is stuff that's coming out now during the water barrier, the Aquarian age. You know, now since we're in the Aquarian age, where media has now turned social. You know, there was no such thing as a social media medium back then. So a lot of these old interviews and a lot of this stuff, like when Michael Jackson was saying he hated touring and stuff like that, you know, you had so many people that wanted to be like Michael Jackson, and a lot of them couldn't survive because they couldn't tour. You know, they started taking different things out of the schools and different music classes and different programs. They started taking trades out of schools and all of this stuff to slowly cripple your creativity. So the only thing that you want to do with your creativity is to do something to empower the Maya, to empower the Yay Maya illusion. You know, it was very sinister what these powers that be have done to our children. It's very sinister what they've done with children. And I talked about it in my gaming video that a lot of people didn't watch. You know, when I said that Jesus is children. Jesus represented the children, and children have always been sacrificed because the children are the most pure. You know. Now, if you want the full breakdown, it will behoove you to go watch that video, so you can see that full breakdown, because this is what's being exposed right now in the Virgo age. The work that's been going on behind the scenes to poison the minds of these children. You know, because since the social media age has been exposing all the stuff that I've been saying, you know, within this past hour, there's been a resurgence. There's been a resurgence of, you know, the Shango, the divine masculine. There's been a resurgence of you know, children who want to be who want to know what divine masculine is. You know, there's been a resurgence of you know, people who now, through social media, men who now have a voice, and the stuff that they're talking about is raising curiosity in these little kids. They're like, yo, you know, my mama never told me about this. You know, my dad ain't around, so, you know, a lot of these manosphere guys and stuff like that, you know, who teaching about how to tie a tie, you know, teaching you the right thing that you're supposed to say to a woman, the right way that you're supposed to handle your money and all of that type of stuff. You know, this is when things like the manosphere was at its infancy stage. You know, they were starting to program in a positive way the minds of these young boys coming up. So then they had to do the same thing they did with the Black Panthers. A lot of agents, a bunch of agents of chaos started to come in and poison it, to where now, I don't know if y'all noticed, but there's a new YouTube policy that's coming out effective in December, to where if you're talking about certain things in that regard, your channel can be taken down. They starting to really crack down on this stuff, because they still trying to keep this illusion alive. But now the play is moving overseas, going past the port, going past the port, you know, going past this port and going over the seas. You know, you got men now that are tired of the illusion that they're being fed, and they're looking for Ada. They're looking for Ada, you know. So that's where we're at now, you know. And I've been talking about this for a few years, about this illusion is dying, you know. And one thing that I can say, there are a lot of goddesses that are waking up, and it's beautiful to see. But it's still kind of in its teenage, infancy, almost teenage type of stage. So a lot of the divine masculines, they still kind of looking with the Scorpio side eye. Right now we're in Virgo season, and this is the season where you find out who your true friends are, because this is the season of, oh, what a friend we have in Jesus. No greater love than a man who is willing to lay down his life for his friends. So I ain't got a lot of time. I ain't think I was gonna be going that long. And I ain't even get to every single little thing, but because I ain't really got a lot of time. Let me get to the natal chart. Let me refresh this right quick. All right. So as you can see, we got Virgo in the 5th house. So this is innocence. This is innocence being shown through creative works. A lot of us have a when it comes to our work ethic and stuff like that, we want to have a work ethic to the things that we love, things that brings out our inner child, things that's talking about creativity, children, play, all of these different things, and we can only do that through love. We're tired of working, because let's see where Oya is at. So there's an imbalance when it comes to the working world. There's an imbalance when it comes to the working world, because we spent so long working on things that's not even gonna help us for real. And this is the illusion. We got Mercury in Libra too, so this is the illusion that's starting to be exposed, because the 7th house is in Scorpio. So this is a imbalance that has been chaotic, and Oya is trying to expose the chaos when it comes to this relationship. And the reason why the relationships are in chaos is because there's an imbalance in what we need to be working towards. And what we need to be working towards, it needs to have something to do with the heart. We don't work in our heart space on a daily basis, and the reason why is because this world has put an illusion up that anything that the things that you just naturally want to do, there's not a industry. There's not an industry for the things that you just love to do, and you just want to do it. You gotta do, in order for you to do what you truly love to do in this world, you gotta go through so much red tape. You gotta get an LLC, and you gotta get a business ID, and then you gotta get a loan from the bank, and then you gotta do all of this stuff in order for you to just do what you love. And then you gotta make sure that you doing what you love, it got some type of connection to what these powers that be, to what this Yeye Maya illusion, it got to be connected to that in some type of way if you want traction. And all of this is what we're working towards right now. Now when we look at our inner child, our inner child is exposing a lot of things. Our inner child is exposing a lot of things associated with, and then we got to go to Pisces in the 11th house. You know, our inner child is exposing things that are associated with this illusion. And the reason why our status isn't the reason why our status isn't the way we want. And this is a hard reality. You know, the hard reality on why our status isn't associated, Aquarius in midheaven, our status isn't associated with our inner child. So then, since our status is associated with our inner child, now we can work in a creative and loving space. I hope y'all got that, because I'm also teaching y'all another way of how to read your natal chart, of how to read natal charts. You know, I'm not saying that I'm the go-to guy when it comes to this, but you know, I got my own. We all should have our own way, and this is a way that works when it comes to how I've been seeing it. Now what is the block? What is the block that's keeping you from associating with your inner child? Now this is going to be a deep process. This is going to be a deep spiritual process, aka Pluto and Capricorn in the 9th house. This is going to be a deep spiritual process that you're going to have to go through in order for you to get to the point where you can associate with your inner child in a persevering type of way, in a concentrated effort, in a persevering type of way, you know, so that the work and the effort that you do, it can come from the heart, and it can be something that you actually love to do, you know. Now, what's the block? The block comes with Chiron in Aries. So this is a wound of identity when it comes to associations. And then we got Jupiter here, which means expansion and power and things like that. So the reason why it's hard for us to associate with what our inner child wants to do, so that we can be creative and work, and our work can do with the heart and creative and loving and stuff like that, is because there's a wound of identity when it comes to our associations, powerful associations, which means that, you know, the reason why it's hard is because you got to give up your identity in order for you to associate with the powerful things, you know, with the powerful people that have this machine, so that you could, you know, in a glimpse to do this. So who in the media right now is expressing this? We're seeing this with Tiffany Haddish. Tiffany Haddish is the best example that I can talk about with this. The reason why I say Tiffany Haddish, because Tiffany Haddish is a guilty by association person, you know. Now Aries Spears, he's different, you know, that this is his MO. But Tiffany Haddish, she's the innocent. She's kind of like the innocent one in a way. And when I say innocent, I'm not meaning innocent as far as, you know, she didn't do what she did, because she did do what she did. But she's innocent because if you understand the story of Tiffany Haddish, you know, she was adopted. You know, she was going from foster care to group homes. She was abused, you know, sexually abused, mentally abused, emotionally abused. She was down on her luck. But it was one thing that Tiffany Haddish could do. She could always make a laughing joke about the things that she went through. She always had this gift of being a speaker, you know, being funny and stuff like that. you know. Now, because of this system that we're in, and because of the conditions and the situations that she found herself in, she couldn't do this. She couldn't work in the creative field that she loved to do, because in order for her to associate, you know, with the powerful people that can get her in that position, she had to do some Chiron and Aries type shit. She had to do some things. Them people in Hollywood made her do some things to where if it came out, it was going to tarnish her identity. I hope y'all get what I'm saying, because it's not just Tiffany Haddish. Just about every single superstar, you know. There was even a picture that came out of LeBron James, and he had this little girl sitting in his lap, and you could clearly see that the little girl was grabbing on his Johnson in the picture, and he just sitting there smiling, you know. They put that picture out, and then they disposed of it, you know. And there's been certain artists, you know, certain people from Hollywood that's came out and talked about. They said, yo, you know, it's this viral video that's being spread around, where you got these people in this barbershop. You got Mav Hoffa, you got a couple other rappers, and they're in this barbershop, and they're like, yeah, man, you know, you got this, you're bright-eyed and you're bushy-tailed, and you think you're gonna go to Hollywood and become a star and all this stuff, and then they drug you, they take you in this room, and some dudes rape you and stuff like that, and then they tape it on video, so that you know, when they put that evil soul-selling contract in front of you, and you say, no, I'm not gonna sign it, you know, they put that video in front of you, you know, and they say, yo, you know, are you still not gonna sign it, or do you want me to put this video out? And see, the people out there that's fully programmed by this illusion, if you say, yo, I was raped, you know, this and this, you know, the niggas out there in the street, they not gonna care, you know. We gonna be like, dang, like, you know. So what they do, they sell their soul. This is what Chiron in Aries in the 11th house, with Jupiter in Aries in the 11th house, this is what this is talking about. It's talking about you gotta give away, you gotta sacrifice a piece of your identity in order for you to associate with the powerful expansion, in order for you to expand, and in order for you to expand and let these powerful people give you the stage that you need, so that you can finally do this creative work in Hollywood. Just about all of these celebrities had to do some type of Chiron and Aries in the 11th house type of thing in order for them to get as big as they got, you know. And the way they'll do it, they'll put certain illusions around you, like they did with Michael Jackson, to where even if you didn't do it, they fix your image to be so weird and so twisted and so weird that, you know, unless you got an innocent Eshu type of heart, you know, you look at old pictures of Michael Jackson, you know, you look at the magazines with Michael Jackson, and they done photoshopped his face and they made him look real crazy, and then they say Michael Jackson was a child molester, Michael Jackson did things to children, and then you look at him, you're like, damn, like, you know, the way he looked, the way he carried himself, you know, he looked like he did do some of that stuff. And then they fix it to where all the good things that you do in the world, all the charitable things, you know, they said Michael Jackson donated to thousands and thousands of charities. You know, they make sure to bury all that stuff. Michael Jackson had a bunch of women. Michael Jackson had like, that man even had Princess Diana Google Gaga over him. He had Princess Diana number, you know, the princess of England. and they was calling each other on the phone, you know. But none of this stuff was out at the time, you know. And you can thank people like Frank DeLeo. You can thank Frank DeLeo for that. Now, even though Frank DeLeo came out and told everybody that Michael Jackson wasn't gay, and then he just mysteriously died, he was also one of the people that was very instrumental in running away, because you know he was a mafia type of dude. So he was very instrumental in running away a lot of the women that Michael Jackson was interested in, you know. And this is all stuff that's you know, this is all stuff that's documented or whatever, you know. Now, the North Node, which is the main goal, is generational wealth. This is the main thing that this is the thing that the reason why you have to quote unquote sell your soul to become famous. You know, this is the reason why you got to go through all of this type of stuff. All of this is because of generational wealth, you know. And this is something that you can kind of see. You know, how many black people in Hollywood that were extremely famous was actually able to hold on to their money to where they're gonna have generational wealth, you know. Very important, you know. Now, let me see what else we got. Let me see what we got in the fourth house. What we got in the fourth house? You see, we got the third house in Cancer. So the mines, you know, they had to place a Cancer in the mines. You know, this it all started in the mind. You know, they had to disrupt the home. So now, you know, your mind is easily to be programmed. And a lot of us and a lot of people, they knew what was going on, but they were so comfortable with certain luxuries and stuff like that they'll never come out and expose nothing, you know. Fourth house in Leo. The home is no longer, when you talk to a lot of these young kids out here in this world today, the home is not where the heart is anymore. You know, a lot of these kids that you see doing these senseless killings and doing this stuff that they got to do to survive, you know, they didn't come from a loving home. You know, that was the other thing that they had to do, you know, loving home. And when it came to creativity and stuff like that, you know, the innocence that you want to do with your creativity was sucked away, you know. So that's what the fifth house in Virgo. And then so now the work that you do, you know, you're already imbalanced as a person. And when you look at a lot of these rappers that sell their soul and a lot of these people, what they say, you know, I just want to buy my mama a house. You know, I just want to get out the hood, you know. And the hood and the projects was a whole construct that was created, you know, by these same entities that's masquerading as the people that's trying to help, you know, real sinister. So when it comes to our relationships, Scorpio, chaos in relationships, you know. And our relationships was what made us so powerful once upon a time. Our relationships. So with this fortune in Sagittarius, you know, this is something that can save. This is something that had to be done away with. This degree describes a wise person with mastery in occultism and deep knowledge of life mysteries. However, it may indicate a eccentric, imbalanced, and manipulative person. Should the natal chart concur the danger of some mental disease. So the reason why our relationships are the way that they are is because of the chaotic knowledge of life, you know, that we've had to ingest. You know, we're not taught who we really are as gods and goddesses, and you know, and our ancestors. We're not taught the real knowledge. You know, we're taught because we know that Sagittarius, this talks about religion. This talks about religion and politics and stuff like that. Politics, religion, spirituality, all these type of things. You know, some of y'all, you know, be honest. This knowledge that you're getting in this day and time, how old were you? How old were you when you finally found out about this type of knowledge? And how long did it take you to deprogram from all the many years of misinformation that you've been fed your whole life? And some of us are still doing this shadow work even to this day. You know, I'm not gonna sit up here and say that I've gotten all of the programming out of me yet. I still got shadow work from this right here that I'm still doing because of the misinformation when it comes to my relationship with my higher self. You know, my relationship with my inner child. So that way, when I look out into the world, I can easily find the divine feminine, and it's so hard nowadays to find that, because so many of us don't have that relationship that we need to have with our higher selves, with our inner child. You know, and then so when it comes to the 8th house, which is, you know, when I talk about the stages of enlightenment, you know, this is talking about the Lilith stage. You know, when you finally go within and you finally start to get the right information and all that stuff. With so many of us that's been programmed by this religion, and so many of us that's been programmed by this belief in our politics and our government and all of this type of stuff. Sometimes this 8th house can be the hardest thing. This can be the hardest thing to get in order. You know, this 8th house can be the hardest thing to get in order because of the religious programming and the spiritual programming. And even in the spiritual community, you know, you think that you done got away from being negatively programmed, and you even got agents in the spiritual community that's teaching and preaching misinformation out here. You know? So in order for you to combat that, it's a deep process. It's a deep process that you're gonna have to go through. When it comes to getting the real spiritual knowledge that you need to break out of this cycle. You know, 9th house in Capricorn. You know, see, the 9th house in Capricorn, a lot of that is shut down for a lot of people. You know, a lot of us, you know, we just don't know where to search. It's a process. It took me a long time to finally find a channel, you know, a channel of information that was pure and innocent, and that really wanted to teach me the real game. You know, a lot of us, we don't, since we don't know our fathers, you know, we don't have access to our grandfathers and our great grandfathers and stuff like that. So now, you know, we're older and we got to learn about channeling, so we can channel our grandfather, channel our, you know, those ancient Ogun energies, you know, that had the real spiritual technology, you know. And then midheaven in Aquarius. One thing that you're gonna learn, one thing that we learned in our stages of enlightenment, The people that are in high places, they're not there because they're so smart and they're so intelligent. They're there because of who they're associated with. And this is what you learn, coming up. This is why we're told when we graduate from high school that you gotta go to a certain college, and you gotta go to a certain fraternity and stuff like that. You gotta go to a certain fraternity and you gotta go through a whole bunch of, you gotta go through some hazing, you gotta go through some gay shit, you gotta go through some crazy shit in order to get accepted into these fraternities. But if you can make it through, and if you can stand the course, when you get out of college, you can be a piece of shit. But if the person in high places is a frat brother of yours or a sorority sister of yours, they can get you in a place or in a situation to where your smarts alone couldn't have gotten you there. You are it ain't who you are, it's who you know. And so since we got all of these type of people in the world, since we got all of these type of people in the world who really didn't get these high positions and stuff like that because of their morality, because of their integrity, you got a bunch of confused, helpless, and self-righteous characters. Instead of stubbornly repeating the same mistakes, you need to seek the advice of more experienced friends who can help you avoid dangerous traps and teach you the rudiments of one's job. See, this right here is taken out. So when this right here is taken out, now you're no longer clear-sightedness. You're no longer clear-sighted, because it says clear-sighted is a must. And when one is lost, one must remember that sitting down on the ground protects against injuries in case of a fall. And this is why it's so easy. If this is what you're trying to be, if you're trying to reach this status and you're trying to do this, that's why it's always a great fall. It's always a great fall. And then with the 11th house is in Pisces, associated with this illusion. A lot of us are associated with this illusion. So instead of us leaving generational wealth, which is the 12th house, in Aries, we die young. This is the reason why we die young. This is the reason why we don't live long lives to where we can leave generational wealth and all of that type of stuff. These are all the things that are being exposed right now. So going back over this, if you on a spiritual level, from our soul family, in order for you to associate with your inner child and make that become your status so that you can work in your creativity and do the things that you love, let's go back around. Ascendant in Taurus. You need to understand your personality, who you no matter what other people say about you. Ascendant in Taurus. Know who you are. And let that be your self-esteem boost. Let that be what makes you high value. You knowing who you are on a shadow work type of level. Ascending in Taurus. Let that be what shines off of you. Not brands. Not all of this other bullshit that this world tries to throw at you and make you feel like that this is what value is. Second house in Gemini. Making sure that you surround yourself, making sure that you surround yourself with positive media, with positive communications that's gonna uplift your self-esteem. Other positive creators and other positive forms of communication. Even if you got to surround yourself with old people that's gonna give you the game, don't care about what everybody else got to say about it, because this is about you. This is about you trying to work in your innocence in a heart space, so that you can do what you love and always be associated with that of your inner child, because that's what matters the most, and that's always what mattered the most. Third house in Cancer. This is communicating with elders and ancestral energies that want to tell you the truth. Communicating with oracles. I heard the word oracles. Communicating with oracles, ancestors, and older people that's gonna give you the game. Fourth house in Leo. For my baby Oshuns, the only type of women that you need to be connecting with, that you need to affect you on a heart space where you can be proud, are women who have loving women, who come from loving homes, and women who all they want to do is create a loving home. Home is where your heart is. Which means that you can be in a real fucked up situation, but as long as in your heart space you feel that love, because you're working in your innocence, then let that be what permeates. Don't care about all this other distractions, all this other BS that's trying to distract you away from the heart. So fifth house. Let me see, where's fifth house? Fifth house in Virgo. All the things that's entertainment based, entertainment, media, children play, all of these things need to be rooted in innocence, in Eshu, in innocence. Be careful what you're ingesting in your windows of the soul. Be careful what you're ingesting and what you're putting out, because what you feel like is a skit now, or what you feel like is a joke now, it may not, the person on the receiving end, they may not look at it that way, and they can come back to bite you, as you're seeing now in Virgo season with these sacrificial lambs that are being placed in front of you because of the social media and entertainment. Very important. Sixth house. Always be working on balance. Always be working on balance. Mercury in Libra in the fifth house. Always be working on balance, whether it's shadow work, whether it's whatever you need to do to keep yourself balanced and working on balancing. The people that you're partnering up with, they're always working on themselves, balancing themselves on an inner level and it's showing on an outer level. This is going to be an ongoing work until the things in this world fully crumble and we're on a renaissance for real, and it's not just a Beyonce album. This is very important. Always need to be working on balancing, working on balance. When it comes to relationships and partnerships and stuff like that, Ada, the goddess of change, order, working with orderly people. If you're going to be in a relationship, make sure that you're in a relationship. If you're a man, make sure that you're in a relationship with Ada energy. This is exalted change. As a man, if you're trying to find a woman to be in a relationship with, make sure that she exuberates exalted change. It's very important. If you're a woman and you're looking for a man, looking for partners to be in relationships with, Make sure that they represent knowledge, exalted knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You know, and you can tell that, you know, they're not the person that they started, and what they changed into is a very knowledgeable Dambala, Obatala, Oko, Orisha Oko type of man. And I don't care how he looks on the outside. I don't care how she looks on the outside, because this is a spiritual thing. This is an energetic type of thing. You know, 808 is very beautiful. You know, but you can tell when you talk to her, you can tell that, you know, that she ain't on the same type of time that younger, unexperienced, control heavy, chaotic Oyas, you know, are on. Very important. 8th house, Sagittarius. You know, when it comes to you doing this deep work, when it comes to you, you know, uncovering these repressed parts of yourself and all of that, you know, make sure that your spirituality is based on truth. That's what it is. You know, when it comes to this, make sure that this is based on truth. And when I say truth, I'm not talking about you know, half truths and truth that's manipulating and all that stuff. No. Make sure this 8th house, this energy right here, this is talking about Oya obeying her father. This is Obatala and Oya type of energy. You know, when Obatala is talking, Oya is very quiet. You know, she's very quiet, which is something that you know, you wouldn't expect from Oya. She's real loud. You know, she's very domineering. She's very controlling. But when Obatala, when Dambala, when Oko is around, and he's giving her instructions, she's quiet and she's listening. You know, and that's how you have to be. You know, when you're trying to get that spiritual instruction. You know, you're quiet. You're silent. You're meditating. You know, you're doing all of those spiritual things that you need to do, and it's centered around truth, change, and truth. Very important. You know, 8, 9th house. 9th house in Capricorn. You know, spiritual processes. This is all going to be a deep spiritual process. You know, a deep process that we all got to go through so we can stay on point. You know, this isn't something that you're gonna do now. You know, do in a day, or do in a few days, or whatever, a few months, and think it's over. No, this is deep. You know, the way we've been programmed, the way we've been bamboozled, hoodwinked, ran astray, ran amok. You know, this is a deep cleaning, a deep process. You know, an ongoing deep process that we got to do. 10th house in Aquarius. Always be, when it comes to your status, make your status be about intelligence. You know, make your status when it comes to you doing this creative thing that you love, that's based around your innocence. You know, make sure that it's something intelligent. You know, make that be what makes you powerful, your intelligence. You know, 11th house. Where's the 11th house? 11th house in Pisces. You know, make sure that you're associated. Make sure that you got a clear mind, a clear conscience, and make sure that you're associated with other people that's gonna keep your positive dreams and keep your dreams and goals alive. You know, always be associated with people that's gonna keep you motivated, that's gonna keep your dreams and your goals alive. You know, don't be associated with people that's gonna kill your dreams, and you're associated with them because they got a certain status. You know, they got a certain type of high status, you know, but every time you look around, they trying to kill your dreams. You know, even if you got to stand alone, even if you got to do this alone, you know, that's what this is about. And last but not least, 12th house in Aries. You know, this work that you're doing right now, you know, this is something that's gonna permeate. This is something that's gonna permeate through all of the future generations that's coming after you. You know, whatever this work is, everybody got different types of work that they came here to do. You know, and whatever that is that you came here to do, and you be successful at that, and you show that you can get it done, that's gonna be the fuel that's gonna permeate. And now the other baby Eshus and the other baby Shangos are gonna be able to, okay, you know, that next generation are gonna have that hope because of what you did. You know, how you stayed on task, how you stayed on point. And if y'all can follow that, my friends, you'll be glad that you did. I appreciate everybody who donated. I appreciate everybody who watched my video, who's in this live stream right now. They're kicking me out of this Starbucks, so I gotta go. But I'm glad I was able to get through this. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. And no matter what, you gotta stay shining. Peace out, y'all. I love y'all.